Yes, welcome to Granimal Farms. In today's video, we are going to talk about something very important, something that every rabbit farmer that is into rabbit meat production should know. Okay. Over the years, I've worked with a lot of farms, consulted with a lot of farmers, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, and I've come to realize that most of these farms don't actually know what are the parameters that a rabbit farmer producing meat should operate around. Okay, so in this video I'm going to illustrate 10 golden rules that I actually um, coined down myself based on my years of experience of working with different farms, and as I mentioned, both in Nigeria and also outside Nigeria. And I named them the 10 rules of rabbit meat production. Okay, the 10 rules of rabbit meat production. As I said, if you are producing rabbit meat, you should be operating within those parameters. Okay, you may not have them 100%, but at least you should have at least 90% operating around those parameters. If you see that your farm activity is not actually operating within these parameters, then there is a problem that you need to find out where the problem is and also work on getting solutions. Okay. So without wasting much time, let's go to the sex ratio. Number one, sex ratio. Sex ratio, by that I mean the number of male to a certain number of female. Many a times I visit some farms and you see them having like 10 female, 20 male, 10 male, 5 female. Okay, you have to understand one thing: the more ideal rabbit you have on your farm, the higher your cost of production. Okay, so usually I tell people the best sex ratio is what? The best sex ratio is a buck for 7 female. Sorry, for 7 doe. Okay, a buck for 7 doe. That means what? If you want to have a 50 breeding doe rabbit, okay, how many buck do you need? You divide 50 times 7. Okay, then what you get gives you the number of buck you need to service those 50 doe. Okay, in case you get a decimal number, maybe 6.5 or 6 point something something, 7 point something something, always approximate it to the highest. So if you have 6.1, you make it 7. If you have 6.7, you make it 8. Sorry, you make it 7. If you have 5.1, you make it 6. Okay, it's better to have 1 plus than to have 1 minus. So the next rule is what? Gestation period. Number 2, gestation period. Averagely, the gestation period of a rabbit is 30 days, okay? 30, 31, 32, 33, sometimes it goes to 35. It depends, but it's not that common, okay? It's not that common. So here we are going to take on the average 30 days. As I said, even though it can go above 30 days, but not more than 35 days, okay? Even though I've experienced 40 days, but it's not that common. So in this video, we are going to use 30 days as our average gestation period. The next rule is the pregnancy rate. Pregnancy rate. So since you are talking about rate, it's going to be expressed in percentage. Okay. So your pregnancy rate is what? Is the number of female, okay, that got pregnant over the number of female that were bred within that period. Okay. So let's say you have 50 female, 50 breeding female. Okay. When you breed all of them together, you should have at least a certain percentage of them getting pregnant at the end, and by the time you palpate them. And usually, for you to operate within the parameters, you need to have at least 85% pregnancy rate. Remember I said what? Your pregnancy rate is the number of female that got pregnant over the number of female that were bred divided times 100. So that gives you your pregnancy rate, and you should always be around 85%, okay? And always work to increase it, but the lower you go, that means there is a problem. If you are below 85%, then there is a problem. The next rate is your fertility rate. Number 4, fertility rate. It's also in percentage, okay? Your fertility rate is the number of females that actually kindle at the end of the gestation period over the number of females that got pregnant. Okay? I repeat again. The number of females that actually gave birth or kindle over the number of females that got pregnant times 100. That gives you your fertility rate. And usually your fertility rate should be around 80%. It means what? 80% of the 85% that got pregnant has to kindle. Okay? So that's your fertility rate. And most time, between the pregnancy rate and your fertility rate, what should bother you more is your fertility rate. Okay. Number 5, weaning date. Weaning date. Now you have to understand this. Weaning date is not a period, okay? It's different from your fattening period, okay? Weaning date is at what point do you separate the babies from their mother, okay? And here we are going to use 35 days. 35, that means at 35 days, the babies should be separated from their mother. Then number 6, we have your prolificacy. Your prolificacy or your litter size. Your litter size is the number of baby the rabbit gives birth, okay, per litter. When she's giving birth, how many babies she has. Now, here it depends on the quality of your foundation stock, okay? If you have good genetics, we have those that gives 9, 10, 11, 12, okay? I've recorded 14, 16, okay? But in this video, we are going to work with the average litter size that every rabbit farmer can get, depending on, despite the genetic, despite their foundation stock, okay? So here we are going to work with average 6 kits, okay? Average 6 kits. The next one we have your interkindling interval. Interkindling interval. Here I'm talking about what is the period of time within 2 births. That means what? If your rabbit gives birth at point A, when is she going to give birth again? Okay, so we have different intervals. Sometimes we have, depending on the breeding cycle, we have 42, we have 45, we have 75, we have 65. Okay, so it depends on the breeding cycle you are using. In more advanced countries, they have what they call all in, all out. Okay, but that is in a more developed country. I will explain that in other videos. So interkindling interval, we are going to use 6 weeks. We are using 6 weeks, which is 42 days. Okay, that means what? Every 6 weeks your rabbit should give birth. So if she gives birth today, if she kindles today, her next kindling should be 6 weeks after. Okay, that's 42 days. Next is your mortality rate. Now you have to understand this mortality rate is divided into 2. Okay, your mortality rate is divided into 2. We have the nursing and fattening. Nursing mortality rate shouldn't be more than 10%. That is when the rabbit are still with their mother. It shouldn't be more than 10%. The fattening shouldn't be more than 5%. Fattening is after you weigh them. Okay, so remember, if you are within 10%, it's okay, it's acceptable. Even though we advise farmers to try as much as possible to work in to reduce the mortality rate, but if you are within 10%, it's okay of your nursing mortality. Fattening mortality should be more than 5%. Okay. Then number 9, we have feeding ratio. Feeding ratio. You have to understand this. Your feeding ratio is directly linked to how fast your rabbit grows, especially during the fattening period. Okay, so here we are going to divide it into two. When a doe is pregnant, she's having 150 grams a day. Nursing, she's going to have 250 grams. Okay, during the fattening period, we are giving them between 350 grams to 450 grams. So here it increases because as the rabbits grow, so as their feed intake. Okay. Also the same thing with the nursing period. As the babies are growing, okay, the mother feed intake will also increase. So you should be able to increase it from 250 to 300 till the babies are weighing. All right. Then the next point, the last one, we have selling point or selling age, or then reproduction age. Here I always tell people, the longer you keep your rabbit, the lower your margin, your profit margin. Okay, the longer you keep your rabbit, the lower your profit margin. Here I always advise people, for meat production, you should sell your rabbit minimum 120 days. At 120 days, when they are well fed, they should be giving you at least minimum 2 kg live weight. Then the carcass weight, you are going to get 1 kg. Production age. Okay, most time I always tell people, always breed your doe when they get to 5 months, not less than that. Okay, some of them at 3-4 months, they are already sexually mature, but that doesn't mean you should breed them. It's just like a young girl. Most time a young girl gets her first menstrual cycle at 10 years. Okay, but that does not mean she can be pregnant, even though at 10 years she's seen her first menstrual cycle. Okay, but her body system is not yet adapted to carry pregnancy. Okay, so most time I always tell people, do not use the first heat period to breed your doe. Always wait till she's 5 months or 6 months, when the vulva and the reproductive system is well developed and the maternal instinct to kick in immediately she kindles. Okay, so here are the 10 rules for rabbit meat production. Okay, number 1, sex ratio, gestation period, pregnancy period, fertility rate, weaning date, prolificacy or litter size, intercandling interval, mortality rate, which is divided into 2, nursing and fattening, feeding rate, okay, feeding ratio, and selling point or reproduction age. All right, now we are going to use these parameters, okay, and examine a rabbit farm of 50 breeding doe, okay, and see how the farm is doing using these parameters. Okay, so we are going to do that in another video. All right, once again, thank you, and this is Grey Animal Farm.